Hi, everybody. Oh, the lights are really weird. I never looked at the camera. So they're right in the way. I'm gonna have to change that. Gonna have to change that. I hope you're all doing well. Let me know how you are. Would it be a stream without some kind of finagling to get things set up correctly? I don't think so. Apparently. I don't know if that's better or worse. It will do. That's what it is. It will do. Alrighty. Who we got? Mr. Quimper. Howdy dowdy. Time's up. Hello, keep bashing heads. How you doing? Deck Jugga. Hi. You sound like you're into clown themed rap music. SpongeBob, what up, Sponge? And Duncan, howdy Duncan, how are you? TGIF? TGIF indeed. What kind of week did you all have? Fill me in on your news, folks. How was your week? How did it go? I think I want to lower down a little. And then do that a little. And then do this. And that should be good. Hey Luke, how are you? I hope you are doing well. I really gotta get something more permanent set up for painting and streaming, but I have yet to do that. We're gonna be trying the paint scheme for these bad boys, the Black Grail. So I do need some purple. A nice purple shade. I can't remember where to put it. Fuck it. I'll just make one. Alrighty. Did 2 straight days of demos, and now I get to finish painting my new Antioch proxies. Nice. Where'd you get the proxies? I hope your day is going well. Yeah, my day isn't going too badly. It's definitely been an odd week. I've been very tired this week. I'm unsure as to why. Just generally fatigued. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of make a scummy greenish purplish type wash. Excuse me. By mixing some Phoenician purple. Well, Games Workshop Phoenician purple. I should be more detailed in with Voodoo Shade from the new John Blanche set. And I just kind of want a scummy, ugly, malign colored wash. I want it to be really just not a nice color at all. Oh, yeah. I guess I should talk about what I did to the model first. So that's like a trench brown, which is a color forge. It's trench brown, and then their sand, and then their bone sprays in a 3-layer zenithal. Good evening, I think. Hey, Tidius, how are you? Nolan James, that's my army too. Is there any news about the hunger models? Not yet, and I'm assuming I'll know pretty quickly when things will be moving ahead, because they seem to be, for whatever reason, reasonably content with me doing a lot of their PR for them. So I don't see them basically letting me do the lore and then getting shy about the model reveal. I'm not saying I'll be like exclusive the model reveal, but I think I'll know when they're coming, and I haven't heard shit. Like, fuck it, I always take so long to answer a fucking question. I'm sorry. But yeah, I haven't heard shit, and I expect to, is what I'm saying. This is actually working pretty well. The light isn't working for shit though. Yeah. Okay. I swear I'll sort something out at some point as regards light and streaming and all that jazz. But I'm just fucking done for space, you know? This worked out as scummy as I was hoping it would. Just a kind of a scummy, purpley scum. Which is exactly what I wanted. Alrighty. Oh, nice. That's sick. They're painting. I enjoyed the new Army Painter paints. I do too, and I'm quite surprised because traditionally I haven't been an Army Painter guy, but now it's the vast majority of what I'm using is Army Painter, which is somewhat interesting to me. They just appear to have infiltrated my color choices, which I think says a lot for any type of paint when you don't sit there and hum and haw about what it is you want to use. You just end up grabbing it. I think that really does speak volumes to the paint. I just want to get this layer on. It doesn't matter if it's messy and it ends up on the armor or anywhere else, because this will be getting dry brushed. Big old bloat neck. Big old bloat face. I need to make up more. Didn't realize it was going to be this good. Mm-mm-mm. The hunger lore is downright vile. It's definitely some of the more dramatic and specific lore. We have Taylor to thank for that. He seemed to want to go all in on it, which is definitely what he did. Latta, howdy. The story I've been told is they were originally bad, but they made a change, and now it's on par with the other big paints. Supposedly, the old paints reactivated when you applied other colors. Well, that whole thing was specifically the speed paints, um, which honestly I never got as a problem. I'm not saying that didn't happen. I have speed paints the first iteration of them, and it's not something I ever ran into, most likely just because the kind of tempo of my painting is different than anybody who doesn't have, like, real fucked up hands. But that was specifically the speed paints, the first iteration of the speed paints. Army painter paints for years, frankly, were just bad. Um, Whenever I used them, I was left very unimpressed with coverage. They were very chalky. They were just all around not quality. Um, I don't know enough about paints to explain why. I guess Goobertown Miniatures is the person to go to find out all about the chemistry of paints, but they were just not particularly good paints. In all the ways that you would want paints to be good, they seemed to lack. Now the new Fanatic range is really good. I think it covers really well. I think it flows pretty well. For the most part, you're watering down to get what you want instead of coming up. And what am I trying to say there? Instead of like doing multiple layers. And that's an important factor for me when I'm thinking about paints, just from a consumer point of view. If you're watering paints down to get the desired consistency, I think that's better because I think that intrinsically implies more value for money because you measure your paint per model, not per layer of paint. So if you can paint 2 models for the same amount of paint that you can paint 1 model, that's value for money. I've mixed in a bit of heavy purple around there to give some additional discoloration. I'm really not digging the light this evening at all. I don't know what I've done wrong, but I've fucked it somehow. So, my bad. I'll work it out. I swear, I'll get all this shit sorted, and someday, the loyal folks among us who are still here 12 months from now, when I finally get a good stream where nothing goes wrong at the start, you'll all be rewarded. You'll all be like, oh my god, today is the day. The scanner's got the stream. It's fucking working. Light works, sound works. It's all gravy. Now, while this is still wet, I'm going to take some pretty heavy purple and I'm going to work it into the undersides of these clumpy lumpies. Because I don't know what you all know about dead flesh, but gravity pulls that blood down, so that's right. I watch CSI. I'm being extremely messy on my wet palette tonight. I'm just beating this shit up over here, to be honest. Alrighty, that is gross. I like it. I like it a lot. It's just ugly. It's just very, very ugly. Alrighty, well, we're letting that dry. Let's chat it up. Let's look at chat and see what I've been missing. Oh, I have needed this stream. Hey, fungal. I still haven't figured that one out. There you go. Duncan, been a busy week preparing for next semester and doing some practice. Baking. Fuck. So bread making. Because plant water and yeast is cheap. It is fucking cheap. And groceries less so. That is very true. And pondering while my hands are busy. That's dope, man. I'm a big I try to cook and bake is a posh word for the salt I make on food products, but I try and do it consciously. I try and like be thinking things in my head instead of just I used to be bad for like distracting myself at all times, but I'm trying to spend more time in my own head. And baking and cooking are definitely time to do that. Levi, howdy, how are things going? Things are going good, Levi. I'm glad you're here. Fungal, do you think there will come factions out for specific demon lords other than Mammon and Beelzebub? Probably. There's at this point, there's no reason not to do stuff. Quite frankly, even just as lore, because everything's a tester. I think there's more than enough room for the team to explore with anything that they want. I can't wait to start painting my heretic divers. Just waiting for the prints. I saw some. Let me know which ones you got because I saw some heretic naval guys the other day, and the prints were like, or the sculpts were really close to Mike's art, which I'm not sold on people doing. I understand why, but they were dope, and I wanted to buy them, so I understand why. You know what I mean? Deck Jugga, how would one use this guy in a battle? He's so tall, he'll be in everyone's line of sight. Generally, yeah. That's what you want. Models that are big, you don't want to be hiding them. You want to be moving them as quickly as they can move into a position that's incredibly threatening, limiting their exposure to the one or two things that might actually kill them early, and enforcing reaction from your opponent. I've talked about it in some videos before, but it's something of a lost notion. He's literally oozing. If you can see there, he's oozing down on himself. That's how much purple I slopped in there at the end. He'll be okay. He just needs to dry. But yeah, like you want him to be big and noticeable and all the rest of it. You just don't want to put him in a really dumb situation and get him absolutely fucking wrecked for no reason. So, Nolan, I'm speculating Path Beast and Church and Metamorphosis are on the menu. As far as I know, the next official rule set, basically, that Tomas wants to wrap, I believe after the lore book, he'll go in on the Hebrew Knights will be next. But that might have changed. Like everything changes a lot in all this chatter. You got a Black Ray on the hands. Yeah, maybe not. You might not enjoy the reward. Do you ever see a minimal card game, Doom Pilgrim? No, but I'm going to look it up right now. Slothington Creations. We are painting the Lord of Tumors. Or at least we're doing a little bit of initial layering work on the Lord of Tumors. I've decided to overcome my fear and just start trying to paint in the grimdark style and put in the effort to actually learn it and how to do it well over time. Nolan, as far as other demon lords, I think the whole pretense of the court of the seven-headed serpent is that whomever is in charge of said circles are always in flux. Yes, that's what I've picked up from the lore as well. Pretty much Mammon and like Beelzebub can be a permanent factor because he's not on the court, so who gives a shit about the other guy? I would love if they released official models for the different warband variants. They will do. That's the plan. Every warband variant they want to get their own models for. So that will be uh, the way that they will go. Good point though. I kind of would like to see smaller ones personally. I want to do Realm and make a warband of thieves. Not for greed, but for the sake of thievery. That's interesting. Like professional thieves, like they're into the artistry of it, as opposed to the greed. It's less about the result and more about the process. This is the first stream I've been able to catch all semester. Hey Maxwell, super excited to be here. The model looks sick. It literally does look sick. Like it actually looks ill, which is kind of what I'm going for. A Vox in the Void does the narrating for Trench Crusade. I love it. Any thoughts? Yeah. He does. He's done the trailers and the story this week. Which is pretty cool. Like he's got a great voice at the end of the day. So Fungo Studio, I wouldn't imagine there are the wilds of ideas for some heretics they're dealing with Sultanate. Or Alamas trying to use some of their enemies' tactics against them. Perhaps my Lithuanian vampires is happy. Yeah, there you go. Hopefully we get the old Order of the Dragon, which will be pretty cool. I've been patient for the Papal States models. They're going to look drippy from what I've seen of some art, which would be nice. Also, the Cadaver Core sounded exactly up my sort of alley. It's very weird alley with clockwork and horrible things if you look too long. But yeah, I hear you. They're pretty cool. I'm working with Westphalia now on their next thing. I didn't do the lore for the Clockwork guys. I came in at the end and did some editing and kind of did some kind of, what would be the word? Consulting, I think I would say, on the lore. But the next group I'm actually gonna write the lore for start to finish for them. So that will be fun, and I'm curious to see how people dig it. Corpse Guard can help keep your order tumor safe, but I lost one pretty quickly to a Jabirian alchemist shooting 3 flaming rounds in turn. House of Wisdom, man. House of Wisdom should not be slept on. They're just fucking crazy. Like, if you're willing to take mad risks, the House of Wisdom is a seriously, seriously strong. I mean, you will win or lose excessively with House of Wisdom, I have found. I'm working on the 7-headed serpent right now. Any idea? My idea was then being a more yokified focused warband, yoke fiend even, that has expensive spells that I use opponents' weapons. That's pretty sick. Interesting. I'm super excited to see what happens with the Crusader Knights. Yeah, I want to know what they look like now. They're not like they're gonna have hallmarks or throwbacks to that old knight style, but I want to know what a Crusader knight looks like in Trench Crusade in 1914. It's going to be super interesting. Technically, my mom's outfit have that as an option, so you could proxy their rules for now. I'm super excited to see what faction lore you'd write. Yeah, it's interesting. We'll definitely see. Your voice is perfect for lore. Thank you. Time's up. I'm an American with a deep voice. Wonder if I could do lore. I think everybody can do lore. You just have to mean it when you talk about it. That's it. That's all people actually want. Like, there's every kind of accent doing lore. If you look at YouTube, the voices doing lore across a multitude of games are all dramatically different from one another. But the ones that people seem to like most are just the ones that people that are like into it. They're doing it because they like it, not necessarily because they think it's going to get views or it's the done thing. So yeah, I always tell everybody, if you want to do YouTube videos, just do YouTube videos. You can do them. essentially for free. Like, they're not gonna cost anything. Why is my hand so sore? Um, Thanks to, like, CapCut, editing is pretty easy, and almost everybody's phone has good camera, good microphone for recording, and there's tons of, like, free music out there for Atmosphere, so you might as well just give it a shot and see if you like it. And if you do like it, stay doing it. That's, uh that's the key. Ironclad grey. You'll do. You prefer Europeans doing it. Yeah, but the people who listen to you might prefer you doing it. You know what I'm saying? I think I watered this way too much, but that's okay because I kind of want it really thin. Going in on this gown. Alrighty. Oh, I'm way off camera. My bad. I just mixed a very watery gray, a kind of a bluey gray. And I'm just going in on this. This is literally just setting. I like the grimdark stuff that everybody else does, but I don't want to just copy everybody else's method of painting. I want to just experiment and fuck around, and like 3D printing means having models to paint is easy. Even if I don't want to strip them, I can just print a new one. So I kind of want to do a two-part grimdark method. I've noticed people either have a reductive technique or an additive technique. A reductive technique is the one where you put on your oils and take them off with sponges and Q-tips and things of that nature. And I like it, but I also like the additive technique. And the additive technique, that's actually what John Blanche does. He builds up, not down, in his colors. And I just want to do both. Sorry. I want to do both because I like building tone and patina. So I think you go at it both ways. You build up gently, you slop on a load of oils after everything is well dried. And then you see where you end up. And then, of course, to make Byron from Artist Opus happy, there'll be a dry brushing stage. Why? Because it gives texture. I don't catch that big poop mess there. Where are we? You got any Goetic Warlocks? I don't. I was actually looking at some earlier though. Disease often results in some bright colors, could lean towards those. Yeah, I was gonna do some yellows and things of that nature. I'll build up brightness after the dry brush. I'll give a nice layer of pop to work on. Like that's like much darker than it will end up, to be honest. The main thing I've picked up in the type of grimdark that I like is I want to work from brightness into dark a lot. Because I just think it leads to better colors and nicer tones and all that good stuff. Oh, I better horse on the bit more water. Nice. I thought it would be cool to maybe just do the black grail as like human flesh tones, just like super healthy human flesh tones, just to be fucking weird with it. But I'm not good at skin in general. I'm not good at skin. Then again, I'd argue at the moment in general, I'm not good at painting. I don't know why I have lost any bit of notion or confidence or what in my painting, and I'm not sure what's happening. And it's not the thing that I think most people do where they're like comparing themselves to the internet and going, "Oh, I'm not as good as like Vince Venturella," or because I never do that. Like I literally never do that. I can very happily just watch Vince's videos or uh not just Mecca's videos or whomever's videos and not compare myself to them. That's easy to do and just enjoy them for them. But for whatever reason, I'm just in my own fucking head all the time the last few months about my painting. I think it's because my hands have been bad. They shake a lot and I make mistakes and then I get mad about it. And I feel like I can't do anything delicate. I just end up doing everything ugly. Alrighty, that all needs to dry. I figure what tomatoes want to give them a cleaner, brighter look as if they had just arrived in no man's land, fresh from Europe. Yeah, I was thinking of doing that with my um or at least one of my NA warbands. I was thinking of doing it with my Air Rangers, that they've literally just arrived and they look all nice and pretty. Did you just remove the soup guys or are they meant to have separate bases? Well, no, I'll this is just a practice model. And this isn't even on the right base. This is just on a 40 mil base instead of a 50. So we're literally just fucking around with colors. This guy will never really make it onto the table, I guess. Um I can never pronounce the name of this space shark chapter for whatever reason. I painted one on or two. Yeah. Um I just slap on Agrex Earthshade on everything to cover up my sins. I'll learn how to paint later when I get my airbrush working. That's how I used to feel about like kind of oils and stuff until I started working with them a lot more delicately, and then for whatever reason I stopped. I don't know why I stopped doing it. If you add more something like skin worm. What? Skin worm? Skin warm? What do you mean skin worm? Going to do up the rough and readies? Mm, well, yeah, hopefully. Um, but that's its own tale as to what's going on with the rough and readies. You all might have the opportunity to do the rough and readies. You never know. I've been reading Berserk recently. I can see the inspiration TC got from it. I think the shadow that Berserk casts across a lot of Western media is very long. I will say, I think almost everybody will have read it and been inspired by it and bring in bits of it. And especially when you're younger, like it's the things you read when you're younger that really get into your head and they're very hard to leave. Um, like the irony for me is I was never really a fantasy guy. Um, when I was a kid, I was very much a sci-fi guy, and I still am a sci-fi guy. Cyberpunk is huge for me. Ghost in the Shell, Akira, they were the big things when I was a kid. Pat Labor, Appleseed, they're the ones that are in my head and that I drag around with me. And authors like William Gibson and things like that. And it's strange to me that I end up in this fantasy realm now. Um, but like I'm loving it. It's not like I disliked fantasy or I had no interest in fantasy. I had Warhammer Fantasy Battle Armies and I played more time and loved Lord of the Rings and all that kind of shit. Um, you just, I think it's funny to be in Fantasyland now when my heart, I think, is in sci-fi. I think the TCG map should be digital to show the process of war. And if you press the location, they will show the lore. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing that you can definitely do. I don't know what their plans are. Um, Long term. I know that the map we've seen is just like the first iteration of the map, so I'm curious to see what changes on it the second time around. That would be interesting. All right, we're nearly dry. Nearly dry. What am I Googling here? Yeah, mechs versus monsters can often be really good. There was a short-lived Netflix anime, Knights of Sidonia. I really enjoyed that. I felt, I was kind of down when that got the old cancellation. Um, yeah, Evangelion is sick as shit. First time I watched Evangelion was in college. There was no like media on the internet in that way at that point. Definitely nothing like a streaming service. And I just so happened to end up living next door to a guy who had the entire series of Evangelion on VHS. So we used to get messy fucking drunk and watch it, which was good times. I laughed this week. Adeptus Ridiculous. We're talking trench lore about the Sultanate, and they apparently consulted a professor of Islamic studies, helped them root all the nuance out. Good times. Nice. I like when people go to that level of effort. And I think it's important, frankly, for Adeptus Ridiculous to do so because they have such a large platform. I think it's really good to show that you can engage in the hobby on a deep way. Like it is literature. Um, so that's really sick. Yeah, the manga did have um a good time. The Tao led me to discover Gundam. Now that's an interesting rotation. It's not something that would have occurred to me because I am horrifically, terrifically old. I know there's a flesh color in these paints somewhere. I'm not sure when I will release myself from my stipulation that I have to use colors from the John Blanche set, but it's fun to completely limit myself instead of just going ham with whatever I want. So I'm going to mix some, it's called Tainted Garden, and it's essentially a death guard green. And I'm going to mix it with a warm skin shade and see what kind of fugly monstrosity of a color we end up with. And just super gentle. Little dry brush. On those more raised up regions. And we have some nasty ass green occurring now for the gangrenous effect. Get a little deeper in there. And now the riskiest bit. Fan-made Trench Crusade game. I know that a kind of a oh yeah, look, it's Trench Crusade and Arma thing caught on during the week, but it wasn't Trench Crusade and Arma. It was like it was fun, and it was the closest you can get right now to Trench Crusade and Arma. It was just very good use of lots of mods, different mods from around the place. But I don't know how I would feel getting my hopes attached to a fan made game just because those things it's a hard time to make and them actually surviving is reasonably slim. In my experience, I will say. I keep going off camera. I'm terrible. I'm telling you. The kid's just bad at this. Pretty gross. Yeah, I might add some red maybe after the oils are on. I want to get up like way too high towards white with the dry brush first. What's that? Who's that? What's my app? Up. Isn't A24 going to make a backrooms movie? That would be sick. I wouldn't say no to that at all. A24 have already put me in a position where I'm looking forward to a rock movie for crying out loud. Kind of a loadedy brush style here. Let's go real hard. Bring it up way too far. Disturbing flesh. Don't you think? already. I wonder if Napoleon will be mentioned in the lore. Maybe. Sorry I'm late. Hobbying. I'm excited for Order of the Dragon. Made up my own lore for Vlad, so look forward to the official stuff. Nice. That's what I'm really digging about Trench Crusade more than any other factor. It's just people are just thinking, I like this shit. I'm just gonna do it. I think that's a real testament to what they're building. Where's my weird berry color? I actually want to put on some gold. I haven't used the gold from this thing yet. If there is gold, I thought there was gold. Here we go. Emperor Gold. Now it'll start to look a bit better and come together a bit more when we get some gold on here. I know I've lost you. I know you don't trust me. You're right not to trust me. I'm not a painter. I do not declare myself a painter. But I am a lunatic. And lunatics get shit working. Like that's just what we do, guys. That's how lunatics operate. We make it work. You just need the contrast in your lives. So I'm gonna add some in for you so you can see what I mean. I tell you one thing, I'm pretty fucking happy with the 3D printer right now because this shit came out fucking spick and span. God damn, it really did. It mustn't have enjoyed the break it got over Christmas. It was like, oh shit, this guy's just gonna stop using me. I'll be good. I promise. Oh yeah, I got your message, Goose. I just forgot to reply to you because I'm a piece of shit. But I got it, and I'll give it a read over the weekend. The line between madness and genius is thin, often blurred, and usually out of sight for me, for I am lost. I agree. Genius is just not stopping when other people get uncomfortable. Now, definitely not saying I'm a genius. I was just a broad statement about life in general. God, I wish my hands would behave themselves just a tiny little bit more. They're not doing so bad today, but they're still scratchy. Kind of all over the place. How much stuff are people sending you these days, Scanner? A decent amount. A lot of the time I don't really know what I'm supposed to do, if I'm honest, with the things people send me. Um, like because when people send me stuff, my edit brain kicks in because from my day job, like, I wanna edit things, um, and people don't wanna be edited, I guess, sometimes. Some do, some don't. A lot of times people just wanna hear like, "Oh, this is cool." Um, I always want to encourage creativity, ultimately. What really surprises me actually sometimes is the people who don't send me things is the most surprising thing. Like, I'll see something on Kickstarter or, um, My Mini Factory, "Hey, Ben, how are you?" And it's very incredibly obvious that it's aimed at the Trench Crusade audience. And I never like, I don't wanna say anything silly here and give the game away, but I've worked with, like, companies, I've worked with individual sculptors doing their thing. I've tried to shine a spotlight on people working in the space, big and small, and I've never charged anybody anything, never charged anyone a penny for those videos. So, if people have something out there that's Trench Crusade adjacent that they're doing, send it to me. And if it makes sense for what I think my audience wants to see or what I wanna promote, I'll just promote that shit. But I literally see things on Kickstarter, I'm like, "Yo, why didn't you send it to me?" Like, I get in touch with them and I'm like, "Hey, guys, I'm very happy to do a video about this if you want me to." And they're always like, "Oh, we didn't think you would." I'm like, "What? Of course I fucking would." So yeah, sometimes it's not the things people send you, it's the things people don't send you that you're like, "Wait, all you had to do is link me to this and I could have pushed it for you." But that's about like models, things of that nature. Like, people run STL campaigns and things. A good example of the lore wise, let's say, is that fan made Chinese stuff. I reached out to them and I was like, "Yo, I hope there's not a language barrier, but like, send me everything you can, and I'll do a video." And I'm working on a video of that stuff now. And I can't, I don't have time for everything all the time. But like, I definitely want people to think. I just want people in the community to understand that, like, if you're working on something and you want to send it to me, 100% send it to me. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's lore. It doesn't matter if it's models. It doesn't matter if it's a freaking mouse mat. Just send it to me. Um, and I'll help like get some eyes on it if I can. It's not like I'm sat here like charging fees or anything. I'm just trying to help out the community. See what I mean? See what I mean about the gold? See, now that the gold is on there, it's all starting to read better. Does that make sense? Being an editor has got to be tricky. Whenever I edit something, my brain decides that it needs to be in my voice and style. And I have to struggle to restrain myself and let their voice shine through. Yes. Um so we actually talk a lot, Thaddeus. I understand this about the writing side of things, which I like. I appreciate you being here. Um so the trick is to understand the aim of what somebody's trying to do. Um And I know it sounds pretty simple because, of course, they're just trying to write something. But what are they trying to write? Are they trying to write lore? Are they trying to just entertain? Are they trying to sell somebody something? Because there's a big difference between I might actually show you guys this after the release of whatever I'm working on for Westphalia. I will show you the design document that I come up with versus the finished lore that I come up with. And we might do that some evening just for fun. Just for fun, he said, on the stream, and you'll see the difference between making something, selling something, and then just entertaining. They're all very different things. And give yourself room to learn the voice of the person you're editing, and don't be afraid to ask them questions about their intent. Like when you say this here in this sentence with this paragraph, this is how I'm picking it up. Is that what you want? And if they say yes, you're good. And if they say no, you help them. Maybe it's a word choice or the cadence of the sentence or anything at all. It could be 1,000 things basically. Um, and you help them achieve the aim for the reader. But the biggest thing I found for people is that just consistency of tone and with their own world is definitely the toughest thing. Like that's what's so funny to me about for me, it's like usually once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, I will get lore from Tomas. And for me, it's like a masterclass because if you think Tomas needs edits, you're fucking cracked. Like obviously everybody needs edits from the point of view of shit. I got a big splodge of gold on the pants. All right, we're going over that in a minute. Don't look at it. He does not need edits on his lore building, on his tone, on anything like that. So getting this like wonderful slice of professional world building launched at me once a week to once every 2 weeks has been amazing for my writing. Just seeing how he constructs everything, how he approaches everything. It's a real treat. I feel very lucky. We're in the awkward parts of the gold now, so I'm gonna shut up for a second. There we go. But yeah, we got some pop there in the gold. I thought that was sick. This the official story. Forgive me, I just had to clean my brush. I keep my cleaning mug on another table behind me so I don't knock it over onto my frickin' PC. Um, the Westphalia stuff is awesome. Love the lore videos that you make to accompany them too. Thank you. That yeah, I really like I'm stepping up the production on the lore videos. I want them to be more visually interesting. And it's good practice for another project, a long-term project that I want to do about the Horus heresy. So it's all good. Used to be a technical document editor until it was what was cheapest for the company to get rid of. Yeah, no, that will always happen. Editing will always be the first thing to go because what's a fucking typo? Other than a typo being obviously a professionalism. But yeah, it sucks, man. Sorry to hear that. What did you think of the official? Oh yeah, so the official story I thought was really dope. I love that I'm not drawn to it right now because I'm figuring out. I think my style of story, I'm finding the bombast, and for me, the bombast is easiest to write, so that's why what I'm writing. Whilst I get comfortable in the world of Trench Crusade, um, but I thought that story was really good, fantastic world building. I don't think a lot of people figured the Lions of Jabir would be so sentient and capable of speech and stuff like that. So that was great. I loved it. It was also really nice. Like, I'm not a voice actor, obviously, and having two voice actors doing a story in the world of Trench Crusade was dope. It was very enjoyable. I thought both of them were excellent and extremely entertaining. Gave a lot of voice, obviously, gave a lot of humanity to things. Yeah, it's really dope to see how just life is, because it's so easy to focus on everything being in the war, but then there's just some fucking merchant who thought he could get one over on his offerings is suddenly dealing with a line of Jabir. Like, it's really fun. It makes the worlds very alive. I'm sure some people will complain about it because people want to complain about everything, but I thought it was fantastic. Nice. Yeah, so one of the things I think about a lot, I guess, from the point of view of storytelling is you take stories that currently exist within the world and you turn them into stories within Trench Crusade. It's a really fun writing exercise. Like, I have a friend who her main writing focus is kind of ye old England as a setting. And obviously you had Jack the Ripper in England, and it's a huge part of literature. Many works explore the legend of Jack the Ripper and who it might have been and what it might have meant. But in the world of Trench Crusade, you can change that. And suddenly you can have your Jack the Ripper be a heretic. Right? Imagine there's a guy running around gutting people in London, and what he's trying to do is like open a portal to fucking hell. Um, so just thinking about life, like what's life like for a cop in Trench Crusade? Just some Bobby on the beat, I think is fun to consider those things. Yeah, exactly. You know, he's just a guy. There's not much heroics in that story. Um, One of the things I'm actually really happy about lately is how people embraced that on the channel. Like, people enjoyed it and watched it, and that felt good because I want to, like, that's something I really want to be able to do is find something, or in this case, I guess, be introduced to something that is sick as fuck and introduce other people to it through the channel. What's the point in a channel if I can't help those kinds of projects? Okay, that was actually some pretty sick brushwork right there. The one time having shaky hands does come in good is when you are trying to put texture into cloth and you're just going down to things, popping away on it. Yeah, I'm writing a 1490 Doom story right now that will be good to go. I'm hoping well, it will definitely go live over the course of their crowdfunding, which launches, I think, May 6th. Don't hold me to that. I might be misremembering the date, but I'm pretty sure it's May 6th. And I will have a story, my own original, ready for them. I was curious to see how much stuff is infernally controlled and how much is just people being people. Yes. Like if you know demons and hell exists and you're an officer of the law, do you constantly consider demons in hell? And are you then surprised when it's just fucking people? Shit. The back came out pretty okay. This is not staying grey, by the way. This is all just grisaille work. I actually quite like where this is going, so I'm not going to paint this during the week. I'm just going to hold it for next stream. Just getting over myself and painting has been really good for my painting. Who knew? I've got that way too close up there. So yeah, that's where we stand right now. That ain't so bad. Yeah, that glorious gold, I think it's called, or Emperor's Gold. Yeah, Emperor Gold. That's a really nice color. The heavy metal that came in it was trashed here, to be honest. But that gold is delightful. I think that's probably high enough because we're likely to lose the vast amount of the tone with the next color. Because I don't want this is like tonally that's way too close to the flesh, which I don't want. I want it to be something very different. Red, purple, not a blue because the blue will just swallow the gray tone. I think yeah. Um there's not enough people here to really spoil stuff, so I can talk about a couple of things. Oh, excuse me, I got the hiccups now. Great. I can talk about a couple of things, a couple of stories that I'm working on. One is I'm writing a I'm writing a story about the guy who sweeps the halls in the Castle San Angelo, which is where the paladins are. Um, yeah, I guess it's mostly just from experience. Like color's just color. It works a little different when it's being put onto something like a model, but for the most part, color's color. So just from stuff like doing the videos, painting, doing photography, you end up with a reasonable understanding of how color will work. And then when it comes to paint specifically, it's about like kind of pigments and how they'll behave. So blue will tend to be pretty diabolical to anything underneath it. And that's why a good contrast blue is your best fucking friend. I think it's shit. What's the contrast blue that I absolutely love now? I can't remember. It's a Games Workshop one. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, that worked really. That was quick. Talisar blue, I think, is amazing as a color because you can lighten and darken it based off what you're doing underneath. You don't want to add shit to the color itself, but it will sit on top and be affected by color beneath it very nicely. Um, why doesn't God just stop this? If he can't, then he's not all powerful. What else have we been lied about? I don't think it's about God being all powerful or not. I think God. So I'm not like a theologian and I'm not religious, but I will defend the concept of free will within religion. And I think God gave us free will and we're enacting free will. Like things have consequences. Like God can't just, I've noticed it a lot with people just think God's just going to like step in and stop things because there's consequences. Um, but that's just not the way it works. So people did a thing, now there's consequences. Everything that's involved in this fight so far is something that God has made and gave free will to. He gave free will to the angels. He gave free will to us. The angels fell. We're human. The demons essentially have free will to a degree. Hey, Paint, how are you? Um, so I don't see the whole why doesn't God stop it or God not stopping it as being an implication that he does not have the ability to stop it. I think he could. I just don't see why he would. Like, there's no reason to. It's a result of the free will that he gave us, the same way as throwing Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden was a result of the free will that he gave them. He didn't stop them eating the fruit of the tree. He let them eat the fruit of the tree and then eat the consequences. So, yeah, I mean, you got to be good. Like, and ultimately as well, if you live a pious life, if you live a righteous life, if you do the right thing, and if you're contrite for any sins you've committed when you die, you go to fucking heaven. Like earth ain't shit. Like the lifespan of a human life is nothing compared to eternity. And from what we know in the Trench Crusade universe, eternity in the presence of Christ is what you get when you die if you've lived a good life. So that's the thing that kind of fucks me up a little bit is when religious people especially say, "Oh, but God was stopping it." It's like, why? Like, why does God care about like 70 years on Earth versus eternity? Like, why stop it when I don't know? It's just I like it's a interesting place to get into because I try to avoid ever being like smarmy or confrontational when it comes to religion and stuff. But for some reason, that stuff makes me want to, and I don't wanna be that person, so I just kinda chill with it. Alrighty, we're going up even higher on the pants. Let's call them pants, just so I feel better. Hey, Derek, how are you? I really gotta stream at a different time, I think. I'm still figuring everything out. I'm figuring out when the good time to stream is. What are we not painting tonight? Tonight we are actually painting. We've actually got some painting done. My hands have been reasonably behaving themselves, and I've been getting an old Lord of Tumors done. And this was like raw when I started, so I've just been um, tearing through the old effects. So yeah, alrighty, we're going up. We're going up one higher again on the pants. Kind of broad gaps between them this time. Just splotching that shit on. Because remember, all this is gonna get A, wanged with a whole other color anyway, and then B, wanged with ink next week. So we'll see how it goes. Potentially the villainy inks, actually. We were talking about them last stream, and it's my birthday soon. So I'm getting the old villainy inks for my birthday off my wife because she's nice. It's perfect time for me. Personally, give me something to look forward to. Oh yeah, I'll always do these on a Friday. I think we're setting that into a nice groove. Um, on Friday, so there'll always be some kind of stream on a Friday, barring me being quite ill or having something I would like to do with my wife, who is simply more important than streaming, frankly. Um, but I might do other streams at other points in the week at different times. Because I can be streaming whenever. That doesn't really matter. I have a pretty nice life right now, timeline wise. Yeah, big time. Yeah, that's true. I am old as shit. So, what did I use for the old? For the old, I used Emperor Old from War Paints Fanatic by the Army Painter. So that's pretty much how that went. So yeah, I just think the future is fucking dope. Like, not to not to vaguely segue, but I try to consider that when I was a kid, I used to get magazines or White Dwarf or the Warzone Mutant Chronicles magazine or whatever it was, and I used to look at these miniatures, and I could never actually have them, for the most part. I had a few things, but, you could never have everything you wanted. Um, and when I did want them, I would get my ass on the train, and I would go, like, about 2 hours on the train, and then, make my way into the center of the city. I would buy the things, I would come home, and I would paint them, and I would do that maybe, like, once or twice a year if I was super lucky, and that was the hobby. Now, this week, I downloaded an STL, which I printed myself in a 3D printer, which came out at beautiful quality, like insane quality, and I'm painting it very happily. Just sat here in my house with really nice fucking paints that just never would have existed when I was a kid. And the future is dope as fuck, basically, is what I'm getting at. I'm really excited to see what the hobby looks like 10 years from now and 20 years from now and all that kind of stuff. Because 10 years ago, you couldn't have fucking convinced me that a bunch of us would be sat here 3D printing our stuff. Um, that I would be talking weekly to developers of the games that I played when I was younger, and I would be writing lore for other people's projects and all this kind of stuff. Duncan McKenzie, the hobby used to be 85% your head, 10% your mates, and talking about it and 5% thing. No fucking lie, dude. The amount of time I spent when I was younger, just with my friends, just talking about stuff. We would like theory craft 1,000 and 2,000 point armies and what they would do and how they'd be and all that kind of shit. Um, it was just dope. Like you really did spend so long talking to people uh about the hobby instead of like doing the hobby. It was incredible. And you'd normally have a squad that you would like strip and paint and strip and paint and strip and paint over and over and over again. So yeah, it was dope. It was good times. Paint. Unrelated question. I'm planning a trip to Ireland soon. Any recommendations on where to check out? It really depends on what you're actually into. Um, like there's a lot of, I think, cool history that you can go and see. There's a lot of cool art that you can go and see. If you're big into food, there's a lot of stuff that you could do. Um, Personally, I would fuck with a bunch of castles. If you want me to send you, if you let me know where you'll be, I can send you like a list of interesting shit I think near you that might not instantly jump out. And there's a lot of like fun stuff to do. Um, I remember sitting in the local library with some friends and sodas and just crafting list after list. Yeah, it was beautiful, man. It was fun times. There was no expectation that like any day I'm gonna own anything. Loser, sorry if this was asked previously. What do you think of the Trench Say line of Jabir lore video? If you've seen it, well, I thought it was wonderful. Um, I thought the voice acting was stupendous from both people, and I really liked the tone that Tomas set with this story, where these like small interactions can be interesting and worth exploring in story. Not everything has to be an action sequence. That's what I'm trying to learn for as Hand of Faith goes on. I can't just cram action in every time. There needs to just be something interesting that explores the world in a different way. And I thought that was fantastic. So yeah, I loved it overall. Um Absolutely loved the story. Thought it was fantastic. Always really fun to hear. Vox is one of my favorite voices on YouTube, so it's always fun to hear Vox doing Trench Crusade stuff. Um, I've got in my tier list, I guess I've got a YouTuber called Ahoy who does just amazing videos all around, but his voice is ridiculous. Vaddy, Vox, Bife, the Destiny guy would be they'd be all up there for voice for me. Just being absolutely sick. So yeah, now we have a decision to make, I guess. What are we doing? Oh, I just got to get the rest of the gold braiding. What are we doing with these pants? I kind of feel like red for the cloth. But keep in mind that that means there'll be red spilling out from up here too. So maybe not. Clown trousers? No way. We ain't doing it. I gotta slap this thing with oils next week because we're exploring the grimdark technique. I wonder if I purple. I wonder about the berry, the blanched berry. If I take it down with the voodoo shade, or the grimdark shadow. Yeah, I'll do the grimdark shadow. See how this works out. You are not serious people, do you know that? And some speed paint medium. If I was doing white cloth, I wouldn't have done all the well, I guess no, that's not true. That's not true. Oh, we're just straight messing it up, folks. We're just going risky business. If it ends up being bad, we just paint over it. Moment of truth. Ugh. We're going with the blanched berry mixed with a couple of things. We'll probably have to glaze this shit on a little bit. But it'll be all good. Everything's supposed to be dirty, manky, nasty anyway. Mm-mm. You're all a menace. Fatten up the mix for the little bits. Now, instantly highlighted. The lazy way. Better do this bit up here. Do it a little thicker. Eep. Alrighty. That will do for now. Oh, missed a big slice. That will do. Alrighty. As I said, I'm the only other painting I'm going to do on him this week will be I'll do the horns and I'll give it a full week to cure. And then next week, we'll really run the risk of fucking this stuff up by doing the oils. And we'll see how that goes. I'm not Armenian, but the idea of an Armenian Cartesian warband fighting within occupied territory would be cool. Yeah, I like white in general. I gravitate towards white. And that's a very suspect question or sentence out of context. Bone color, um, things of that nature. I always seem to want to be painting and then like darkening them down. But I would literally just have every model look like this if I could get away with it. They would just all look kind of like that. Oh my God. How does one send you STL scanner? And just send them to me. My email address is pretty obvious. But what I will do is the easiest way to talk to me, even though I'm often uh, rude and non-responsive, is just the Discord, which I will link now. Baba Booey. There's the Discord. Um, yeah, no, it's definitely not orange. I think I'm just psychologically damaged by the color orange because the sports teams that I hated the most when I was a kid, like local, because I was playing for my town and the other town over was orange and I fucking hated them. So I have allowed it to damage myself severely by having orange on my channel. But what are you going to do? Can't win them all. Orange is a nice color, ultimately. Oy vey, what was I talking about earlier? So yeah, I guess a quick state of the channel. Um, the witch turned out okay with the burnt orange. Yeah, burnt orange is nice, but it's definitely not like grimdarky. Which is where I want to be. I have to stop deviating from the thing I want to do just because I'm intimidated to try and do it. Um, I will be the first person to tell people if you're going to learn a new skill, that takes time. And then for some reason, when it comes to me, I'm like, oh shit, I better just be instantly good at this or else I'm going to be fucking mad. So, I should shut up and listen to myself. Sometimes I think, oh God, no, not at all. My skill set would be best described as like, I guess, pretty close to the old heavy metal because that's how I learned how to paint. And the grim dark thing is, it's actually an extremely delicate painting style, uh, which is what I've noticed. Which slicer do I use? Cheeto box personally, but I've got lychee as well. Like it doesn't really matter. Much like a sharp knife, I can slice most things. So that's all good. Um, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so state of the channel, state of the channel, state of the channel. Let's talk about the channel for a minute. I look incredibly bright because of this. I'm going to leave it on anyway. I'm gonna send you something and then throw my phone across the room. Okay, feel free. Um, yeah. So coming up, obviously, a lot of stories, like a lot of stories. Somehow, I've managed to not control my initial thoughts when it came to stories, and I'm just writing a huge amount of stories. I'm putting the finishing touches on Hand of Faith 4. We're about a third of the way through writing part 5. I've got a short story about a guy sweeping a floor on the way. I've got a short story about um Leclerc from the Rough and Readies. I've got a short story about something horrible happening to somebody. Um and then I've got I tend to stick in universe a lot. That's really kind of my thing. I like to be in universe. And we're gonna have the rule book soon and more lore and more images. So I'm gonna be feasting. Like there's gonna be so much stuff to cover and talk about and do on the channel. I think it's gonna be very exciting, and that will get us through the summer. Um, I'm gonna have battle reports coming and, like, narrative battle reports because I find them to be very fun, and I think the battle reports are, like, the standard battle reports I think are done really well by a few channels in the community, and I don't think I would be adding anything to Trench Crusade battle reports to just be doing standard battle reports. So I'm going to do narrative battle reports and do some nice camera work and things like that. And hopefully that pays off and looks pretty. And then, if you want to just like listen to a good story, you can just listen to the battle report. Um, I've got all my templates made up for complete videos about every faction when the full lore is out. So that's going to be really fun. They'll be done in the people have been asking a lot for that kind of the video that they can fall asleep to. And that's what I'm going to try and cover with these new versions. There'll be some really nice ambient music that I'm producing myself and really nice visuals for people who want that kind of thing. And that'll be quite cool. So yeah, I think there's like a lot of good stuff coming onto the channel over the next 4 to 5 months. And then once that's done, um, all the while in the background, I'll be working on a Horus Heresy series. And that's going to be ridiculous because the Horus Heresy is ridiculous. The Horus Heresy is so many books. And I'm not in any desire to get this thing covered quick. Nobody realizes it, but like I've been doing YouTube for 13 years. 13 years, just doing whatever the fuck I want on YouTube. So when I say I'm covering the Horus Heresy, I mean I'm in it for the long fucking haul, folks. There's going to be a lot of parts to that. So yeah, that's what's rolling. I listened to the battle report, our battle report story at work. I don't realize it was about report when I got home. It's so good. Yeah, yeah, they're super fun to do because I'm just trying to make viable characters exist off dice rolls. Um, so that's like a real fun challenge for me. And then, of course, when I'm doing other people's war bands in those battle report stories, I want them to be happy with the way I'm writing their war bands. So it's real fun. Um, I really want to make everybody happy when I'm doing those. I want the people whose war bands it is, even if they're losing, to feel like they like the characters that I turned their war bands into. Yeah, so tremendous fun all around, basically. Uh, what more could you ask for? Yeah, pretty dope. I think I'm going to call it there. It's been about 2 hours and I am quite tired this week. And I actually painted. I feel like I didn't false advertise the stream. We did actually do some painting. And I'm not sure what was wrong with the lights this time. I'll figure it out. Like they're fine, but they're not fine. Does that make sense? In the end, the only faction to win during the Horus Heresy is the Orcs. Yeah, because they just love the scrap. They just like to fight. So Ulanor wasn't shit. Um, yeah, I just think Horus Heresy is really interesting as like I'm not saying it's high literature, like don't get me wrong. But the scope of it and the scale of it and just how many books make it up and how many individual authors lended their voice to it and subsequently how many individual editors would have lended their voice to it. I think it's just really interesting just from that point of view, even if you take out the fact that it's about fucking the 40K universe, well, 30K universe, which is obviously something that I adore. I think it's really interesting. and really fun. Um, just from that point of view. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Somebody asked me to do Chal, uh, which I might do as like a dry run on Horus Heresy. I'm not sure. I need to have a think about it. I need to figure out exactly how much new stuff might be coming in the books and go from there. And then there's also like the writing lore for other people's projects is starting to become more and more common now, as I've been quite lucky because some companies have reached out to me um about doing a little bit. So that's good fun. And I want to leave time obviously to work on that and make sure that they are happy and enjoying what they're doing. And it's also just such a weird time in the gaming space right now with lots of companies appear to be like closing down and really suffering. And I'm seeing the potential to just try and do something that I always wanted to do, which was like just design my own game and put that shit out there. So we'll see how it goes. Horus, Horus Heresy, Horus is unhappy to be bald. He is unhappy to be bald. I actually think he's happy to be bald, hence the glowing red from inside the suit, highlighting it. Alrighty, now that's enough. That's enough meandering. I have threatened before, and I will threaten again. I'll be getting some guests on to the podcast, some guests that you're really going to like. I'm just narrowing down when that will actually be. I'll give you a good warning though as to when that will occur. So yeah, that's it, folks. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you have a really wonderful weekend and expect videos over the coming days. Thank you all so much. Bye.